Hi, everyone, and welcome to week and episode 59 of the Unique Vibrations Midday Show. I'm Donna Ferguson. I'm your host and producer of the Midday Show. I am also the host and producer of the Extraordinary Women's Interview series and also the Spiritual Events Awaken Your Inner Power show every Friday at 12 o'clock. I'm going to pop a link in later on today so that you can just step on over and have a look at that and maybe join me tomorrow as we come on to have a wonderful conversation and do a little bit of crystal guidance as well. So, hi, Angie. Welcome. And Linda, is that Linda? Oh, no, Stephen. Hi, Stephen. How are you? Sorry. Welcome to the show this week. So, today, we are talking all about turning your overwhelm into energized action. And I'm really excited to be sharing some information about this today because I really do believe that there's a lot of women out there in business who have been in business in the first 1 to 2 years, and it really does create this whole lot of feelings of fear and loneliness and being overwhelmed with having to do it all and feeling like they're alone doing it. So really want to talk about that today. First of all, I want to thank you so much for joining me today on this week's show. I am really very, very grateful for your time. Today we're going to make it short and sweet so that you can get back to your day. And again, I'm just really grateful that you've been able to join me. So please fill out in the comments. Let me know where you're from and whether you're watching the live or the replay. I would love to know. And as I said, today we are talking about how business is overwhelming, especially as a sole trader. If you don't have a team and you're just starting up and you're in the first 4 years of your business, it's really can be really lonely at times. And, you know, sometimes just to know that you're not on your own is enough for us to just keep moving forward. So it is important that you do tap into a network of people around you who are also in business and really start to get the support that you need when you're in business. So it really makes a massive difference. I hear you asking, though, how to turn the overwhelm into energized action. Well, there's so many decisions that we make every single day, around 35 or 38,000 decisions we have to make each and every day. So if you're in business, you know, how do you start to overcome those decisions that you make? Well, you know, first of all, there's decisions that you might be making that you're actually procrastinating over, which really does you know, turn things into a little bit of a lack of energized action, shall we say, and a little bit of perhaps self-sabotage. You know, it all makes a big difference in your daily work life and business life. So, you know, it's making sure that you know what decisions you're thinking about making and making sure that you do make the right ones, and how to be sure that it's actually the right one. So a great way to start turning that overwhelm into energized action is to create some sort of a uniform. So if you have employees, create a uniform. It's unified, it's professional. You know, if it's your brand colors, people will begin to know and recognize who you are every time you step out. And, you know, if you work for your own and you're a sole trader, like for me, for instance, my colors are purple and gold. You'll notice that every week I wear something purple on my shows because that is my brand. I am my brand. And so this is a very deliberate move for me to wear the colors and really look at having those recognizable things, and it's one less decision that I have to make every day. I just go for the next purple top or shirt. So it's a really easy way to overcome some of that decision making that you have. You know, as I said, you are your brand, and whether you have a team of people, whether you're in a franchise, whatever that might be, people will get to know who you are and, you know, what it is that you're doing, and also, you know, more about what's going on in your business life, and creating more automatically. By recognizing you, you're going to create more inquiries, because people go, oh, I know those people, I see them out and about all the time. So create and set great intentions would be the next thing that I would say about, you know, turning that overwhelm into energized action. Make sure that you do it with an understanding of what your outcome, your desired outcome is, because without knowing what that outcome's going to be, or that desired outcome that you want, then you're not going to be looking at making the right decision. So be empowering with your questions and asking, you know, rather than asking why, because why disempowers you at the end of the day. It's not an empowering question. It really does disempower you. And it really can just create a, I just can't quite get my laptop in the right place today. It seems to be a little bit all over the place, but that's probably a little bit better. So the light's a little bit funny today as well. You know, but as I say, it's not about perfect. It's about getting out there and just doing it. So that's what I'm doing today. You know, rather than asking why you want to, why something hasn't happened or has happened, you know, it's more about how can you tap into what's happened and make it better next time, putting a system in place to prevent it. If it's something that's occurred that's a little bit out of your control, asking why is not going to help you, but asking how you can create something more from that, or what was great about that, what was the lesson that you took from that, is really very empowering. And when you start writing those things down, you really are going to start looking at, you know, being able to open up your own power more. And, you know, it's going to change the results that you're going to get by empowering yourself with those questions. So how can you make it better today? How can you, what you did to, and at the end of every day, ask yourself, what did I do great today? What can I do better tomorrow? And start setting that intention at the end of the day for the next day. And creating a positive, energetic environment around you, for you and your staff. And therefore, your clients are going to walk into something that feels great. You know, it's very easy for one staff member or for one person to turn your business around in a good way or in a not so good way. And that negativity doesn't belong in your workplace. It's time to remove that from the whole environment and bringing in a more holistic look at your business as a whole, and bringing that energized, positive energy into that workplace, so that when people do walk in there, they're actually feeling really comfortable and they just know that they're in a space that they want to deal and work with. And this can start right at the interview process as well. So when you're interviewing, be really clear about the expectations that you want from that person. The quality of your communication really is going to be the quality of your business, and leaving nothing to chance. Be really direct and be really clear with the questions that you're asking at the interview process. And also, if it's not clear, clarify, and keep asking the question until you have the answer that you know is the answer that is supposed to be. So, you know, that communication, that will give you a good indication on that person as to whether or not they're the one for your business as well. And your expectations from the prospective employee point of view can leave nothing to chance, because if their values aren't adding up to the same values that you have, then it's not negotiable. If that person is not living in the same values that you expect in your business, and that comes from your personal life, it's an automatic transition into business life, then it really does mean that this person does not belong with you. Listen to your intuition. It's really important to understand what that message is that you're getting. And it is non-negotiable. If you'll always find that if you step down on your core values for a moment to actually take somebody on because they've got nearly everything right, and I'm not talking about the qualifications as such, I'm talking about them as a whole person, then you'll find that down the track something happens that tells you knew you shouldn't have done it, and you don't want to have those decisions to make down the track because when you could make them up front. And creating an activity with your workers to get to know them on a better level can really create a great professional relationship with them as well. So it might be, one week or month, it might be a breakfast, somewhere outside of the business, so you can sit down and you can talk business, but you can also get to know them a little bit better as well. Other times it might be an afternoon or a social time for an hour or half an hour or an hour one afternoon after work. And, this can still be done in the office as well, as long as you're keeping it professional, but also getting to know them and using that time to really understand who your staff are. And this creates an environment where you can gain a level of understanding of who their true selves are and their behaviors and their boundaries as well. So look at their behaviors and look at their boundaries and look at the way that they present themselves in a social scene. And, you can take that outside the office as well. I mean, go to a nice cafe bar after work and sit down and just have a drink with them over, one afternoon, and, really learn to understand who that person is that's working for you and what their behaviors are like. And if they're local and you have a local cafe and bar to go to after work, then you're going to see also who they're connected with outside of work. And, that will give you an indication as well. So they're bound to bump into somebody that they know. And remember that your staff are your reality. And in business, this really does make a point where it's really time to ensure that you are transparent to your staff, and that creates your trust, and therefore you receive loyalty from them in return. And regain the certainty in your business with and for your clients, so that they are targeting the right people as well. If you've got loyalty and trust with your employees, then they're going to speak about you outside of work in a high level of respect. And you just don't know who they're talking to and who they might be able to bring in as a client. So it's got to work as a whole, around the whole business. It's not you versus them. It's working together to create that holistic overview of your business. Make sure you offer something of value that perhaps others aren't offering in your industry for new clients as well. What's your point of difference? What can you give them, or what can you create for them that will really make sure that works nicely for them as well? And, the next thing is really, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, it's all about networking. It's really, really important. Hang around and make friends with those who have already created the level of success that you're looking for. And, if you're new in business and, you might be turning over less than, say, for instance, less than $50,000 a year, then you want to be hanging around with people who are making 100 plus a year, because they've already done it. You know how to create that in their life. You know how, they will show you. And I know that women in business are so passionate about sharing their knowledge. So don't be afraid to network and ask and step up and really start to connect with these people who are already extremely successful. Ask them how they did it. Ask them their secrets. Ask them, the questions that have helped them move in the right direction, and avoid the mistakes that maybe you are making that you don't need to make. And I've got my beautiful candle here, and we must have just got a gust of wind because it's blowing madly in the background. So I hope it doesn't catch on fire. I'm sure it won't. And when offering rewards to your staff, keep it as an overall reward. You don't want to single out one person, especially if you've got one person who really does perform better than the others on a regular basis. And I don't mean better, I mean they're bringing the results in, a higher level of results in time and time again. You don't want to single that person out because it can create some friction between your team members, and that's the last thing that you want to do. So, creates, you don't want to create that separation. So, if there is something very special, then do that behind closed doors and, acknowledge that in some way that you want to, that, maybe is very personal to that person, and find a way to do that so it's not in view of your other team members. And are you streamlining your business and outsourcing in the right areas and where you need to be? It becomes so overwhelming as a one-man band that you just forget that there's got to come a time where you have to make that decision to ask somebody to help you out or to do some work for you. Are you at that point yet? Are you really so overwhelmed and so bogged down with the day-to-day running of the business that you can't step out and really open up your creativity and work on your business rather than in it just for a little bit? So those time-consuming tasks that take, so many hours for you to do can be done quickly and efficiently by somebody else, and free up that time for you. And, if you have to do something more than 3 times, then it's time to create a template for that and have your organizational chart there ready to go, because that's really important. Then you can see, even if you are still a one-man band, but if you start writing up your organizational chart, then you'll be able to see when it's time to start implementing those staff members or those outsourcing that particular area of work. And you've got it already written up and know exactly what you want to do, and start tapping into who might be the person for you in that area as well. Last week we spoke about self-sabotage, and if you've got any self-sabotaging patterns and behaviors around the success of your business, then maybe your staff might have them as well, and it's time to start unlocking their true potential for your business as well. How do you do that? Well, there's many different ways around that, and you can get people to come in and work with those staff members. I do processes myself where I'm able to actually kick in and do some really important work and tasks that I can help businesses really release those limitations that their staff have. And sometimes it's something that you filtered through unknowingly to your staff as well. So, let's all work together as a whole. We'll work with you first. We'll create that release for you, and then we'll start working on your team and implement those systems. That doesn't need to be a long ongoing process. It can be, a half-day process of just doing some training around mindset. That's the perfect way to get that started. So I'm more than happy to come in and speak to your business about those things. And it's really important to reinvent yourself, and often, because as you grow and go through that growth in your business, then it's really time to change up the way your business is, and step up to stay competitive in your industry. And when your intuition, and I mentioned this a bit earlier, when your intuition speaks to you, it's really important to listen. Sometimes, people refer to it as the universe sending you a message. You know, are you really listening to those messages? And what is the cause and effect of not listening and understanding the energy and the frequency of the message? You know, that in itself is a huge part of being able to create more in your industry. You know, sometimes that intuition, people can think of it as fear. And what it really comes down to is self-sabotage, or, you know, that intuition that just doesn't feel right. Really just sit and really breathe into that. Take in, you know, your breath and really, you know, listen to what that intuitive message is. What's it telling you? Is it your energy? It might be somebody else's energy, in which case you can totally release it. So there's many different ways to work around that. And be consistent with your commitment. You know, are your actions aligned with your results? If not, can you change it? You know, you often hear people talking about if there's an issue with the consistency and commitment, and you're not quite aligned, then it shows up in three areas. Shows up in your relationships, both personal and professional. It shows up in your financial status. You know, what does your bank account look like? Or it shows up in your physical being. So, you know, are you struggling with weight loss? What are you doing? What's going on? What's creating it? You know, there's so many ways around that. So to understand that as well. And, you know, do you need to upskill in some of the areas of your business to stay up with the changing technology? You know, things change all the time. So who's providing you with the latest information around that? So many different things to look at. And finally, understanding the true how to manifest what you really want, and what's missing when you're setting your goals. You know, what are you not putting in there? Or what are you not understanding how to manifest properly? And what does your business look like in 12 months from now? You know, have a think about that. Where do you want to be? And are you on track to create that? And if you'd like more information on this, then I'm inviting you to join me on my next masterclass, which is all about turning overwhelm into energized steps. And I'm just going to pop that up here so that you can see that. Is that showing? Here we go. And maybe that one. Yes, there we go. So, and I will also just let me grab the link to put in here for you, wonderful people who continually support me, and I'm so grateful for that. So there is one of the, okay, that's that. And also, you know, join me. Come on and have a look at my Awaken Your Inner Power 1 hour session that I have tomorrow on the spiritual events directory, and that's at 12 o'clock, and that's live. And we're going to answer all sorts of questions for you. Did that go in? Did that one go in? Yes, there we go. You know, we're going to answer all sorts of questions through crystal guidance. And we're going to look at many different things for you. And we really want to be able to give you some answers that you're looking for. So while we're going to talk about pushing through your limits tomorrow, we're also going to, at the end, we're going to be doing a crystal guidance process where we can provide some answers through our crystal intuition. And I'm really looking forward to that. And so, you know, in the next couple of weeks, because I'm going through some massive changes in my business, I'm reinventing myself at the moment. So I really am going to have a big announcement to make in the next couple of weeks. So I'd love to have you here. And please don't forget to let me know whether you're listening to the live or the replay. And I would love to know where in the world you are. And, you know, send me some love, throw some hearts up there, and just let me know what is going on in your life. And if there's anything at all that I can do to help you, I would be very, very grateful for that. So I look forward to seeing you next week on Thursday at midday on the Unique Vibrations Midday Show. Until then, have an absolutely extraordinary week. Thank you all. Bye.